If you're doing push-ups like this, you're wasting your time. And if you're doing them like this, you're about to injure yourself. I'm going to show you the perfect push-up form that will actually build your chest, shoulders, and triceps. Plus, the 5 mistakes that are absolutely killing your gains. Let's get into it. What's up, Feed Your Fitness family? Push-ups are one of the most effective bodyweight exercises you can do. They build your chest, shoulders, triceps, and core all at once. But here's the thing. Most people are doing them wrong, which means they're leaving gains on the table or worse, setting themselves up for shoulder and wrist injuries. Today, I'm breaking down the exact form you need for perfect push-ups, the 5 most common mistakes I see in the gym every single day, and how to fix them immediately. By the end of this video, you'll have stronger, safer push-ups that actually deliver results. So let's dive in. First, let me show you what a perfect push-up looks like, then we'll break down each component. Alright team, let's talk about the push-up. You've been doing them your whole life, right? But what if I told you most of the push-ups you've ever done were a complete waste of time? Worse, they were actively setting you up for shoulder pain, wrist issues, a whole lot of frustration? That's the reality for so many people. They crank out rep after rep, thinking they're building a bigger chest and stronger arms, but all they're really doing is practicing bad habits. The difference between a push-up that builds real, functional strength and one that just grinds down your joints is all in the details. Before you even think about bending your elbows, we need to establish the starting position. This is non-negotiable. Your push-up is built on the quality of your plank. If your starting line is sloppy, the entire race is a loss. So, let's get down on the floor and set it up correctly. Place your hands directly on the floor, hands just slightly wider than shoulder width. Point your fingers straight ahead, or angle them slightly outward if wrists hurt. Extend your arms so they are straight. Do not lock your elbows into hyperextension. Strong, not stiff. Extend your legs straight back behind you. Feet together, more challenging for core stability. Or feet about hip width apart for a more stable base. You must create a single, straight, rigid line, top of your head, through your spine, hips, heels. No bend at your waist. No sagging in your lower back. No piking of your hips up toward the ceiling. You are a plank of wood. You are a steel rod. This is your immovable foundation. The secret to maintaining this straight line is full body tension. This isn't a relaxed position, it's an active one. Brace your core. Imagine someone is about to poke you in the stomach. Tighten those abs. Next, squeeze your glutes. Really squeeze them. This locks the pelvis neutral. Now that your starting position is rock solid, we can talk about the movement itself. The push-up has 2 phases, the descent, or eccentric phase, and the ascent, or concentric phase. We're going to start with the descent, because this is where control is built. From your perfect plank, you are going to initiate the movement by slowly bending your elbows. Do not let them flare straight out to the sides. Instead, guide them back at roughly a 45-degree angle relative to your torso. Imagine you have arrows on your elbows and you want to point them toward your feet, not out to the walls. This controlled descent is your brake system. You are in charge, not gravity. I want you to aim for a 2-second count on the way down. 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Your entire body, from head to heels, should lower as one single unified block. Your chest should be leading the way. Continue lowering yourself until your chest is about 1 to 2 inches from the floor, or until your elbows reach approximately a 90-degree bend. Throughout this entire phase, your head must remain in a neutral position. Keep your eyes focused on a spot on the floor about 6 inches in front of your hands. Now for the ascent. This is where you generate the power. From the bottom position, I want you to think about explosively pushing the floor away from you. Drive through your hands, engaging your entire palm from your fingertips to the heel. As you push, exhale forcefully. Maintain that straight body line all the way up. No sagging hips, no chest rising before hips. Press to arms extended but not locked out. At the very top, protract your shoulder blades. The ascent should be faster than the descent, about 1 second. Slow down, powerful up. Mistake number 1, the shoulder-wrecking flared elbows. Let's dive into the number 1 mistake I see, the one that makes physical therapists like me cringe. It's the flared elbows. Elbows fly straight out to the sides, forming a 90-degree angle with the torso. Overhead view looks like a T from above. People do this because it often feels easier or more natural at first. But this places massive stress and impingement risk on the shoulder joint, especially the rotator cuff. Over time, this leads to shoulder pain and injury. The fix is simple, but needs practice. Tuck your elbows. As you lower, keep elbows closer. Aim for about a 45 degrees angle. Your body should form an arrow, not a T chest. Shoulders, triceps. This shifts stress off the joint and onto the muscles that should be doing the work. Pro tip: imagine screwing your hands into the floor. Right hand clockwise, left hand counterclockwise. This external rotation will engage your lats and pull your elbows into a tucked position, creating a more stable shoulder socket. Still struggling? Get into position and actively break the bar between your hands. Imagine bending a steel bar in half. That grooves the pattern. Expect fewer reps at first. Good. You're using the right muscles. Quality over quantity, always. Mistake number 2, the saggy and pikey hip fiasco. The second major category of push-up crime involves the hips. This comes in 2 flavors: the sagging hips, the piking hips, the saggy hip push-up, or the worm. Your hips drop, deep arch in your lower back. Dead giveaway, your core isn't engaged. You've lost plank integrity and you're loading the lumbar spine with compressive force. It shortens the lever, feels easier, but it negates the core benefit and risks your back. It's a cheat rep. The opposite is the downward dog push-up. Hips lift high, inverted V. People shift their center of gravity back. That reduces body weight load and turns it into more of a shoulder press. Less dangerous than sagging, but still a cheat. You're not training your chest or core effectively. The fix is the same. Re-establish and maintain a rigid, straight-line plank. Squeeze your glutes, brace your abs. Keep them squeezed and braced for the entire set. Use a broomstick or light PVC pipe along your back. It should maintain 3 points of contact: back of your head, upper back, and glutes. If the stick loses contact, form has broken down. If you can't maintain the straight line, the standard push-up is too difficult right now. That's not failure, it's data. The solution: regression. Elevate your hands, bench, box, or a sturdy countertop. The higher the hands, the easier the exercise. Use elevation to practice perfect form. As you get stronger, lower the height until flawless reps on the floor. Mistake number 3, half reps. We've all seen it. Someone banging out 50 push-ups that are really just tiny 1-inch movements at the top. They barely bend their elbows. While it might look impressive to the uninformed, you are cheating yourself out of muscle growth. Muscle is built by taking it through its full available range of motion under tension. By only doing the easiest top portion, you miss the most challenging, productive part at the bottom. Commit to full ROM. Lower until your chest is 1 inch or 2 from the floor. Elbows about 90 degrees or slightly more. If you can't reach depth, use elevation. A box or bench that lets you get your chest close to the surface beats half reps on the floor. Build real strength, then bring it to the ground. Your head position dictates your spinal alignment. As fatigue sets in, many tuck the chin or look up. This compromises your neck and can trick you into thinking you've reached full depth when you haven't. Fix: keep a neutral neck. Find a spot 6 to 12 inches in front of your hands and lock your eyes on it. Imagine holding a tennis ball under your chin. Don't squeeze it by tucking or drop it by lifting. Move as one solid unit. Mistake number 5. Final fixes: hand placement and your homework. Incorrect hand placement is common. Where you put your hands changes which muscles are emphasized and how much stress hits your joints. Too wide often limits range and, with flared elbows, stresses the shoulders. Too narrow dramatically increases demand on triceps and front delts. Start with hands just slightly wider than shoulder width. This allows full range and balanced chest, shoulders, triceps. If wrists hurt, rotate fingers out 10-15 degrees, or use push-up handles or dumbbells to keep wrists neutral. How many? As many perfect reps as you can. Aim for 3-4 sets, 1-2 reps shy of failure. How often? 2-3 times per week with at least 48 hours rest. Wrist pain? Use handles or fists on a soft surface. If pain persists, see a professional. Homework: film yourself from the side. Compare against the 5 mistakes. Are hips sagging? Elbows flaring? Hitting full depth? Fix one thing at a time. Small, consistent improvements win. Smash like, subscribe, and drop a comment with the mistake you were making. Now get out there, fix your form, and let's build serious strength together.